What's up, guys? Do I have a financial opportunity for you? A once in a lifetime offer. And let me tell you, I know there's a lot out there between NFTs, investing in GME, all the shit that is out there, Elon Musk buying Twitter. Who knows what you can invest in? But I have an opportunity podcasting. You can make tons of money podcasting. Now, sure, you have to have content and invest in that content, friends and planning and a microphone, probably at the minimum. But Anchor makes things a lot easier so you can start making the big bucks today. Now, Anchor has all the tools that will allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone and your computer. Easy as that. Easy as buying Ethereum on the blockchain with half the risk. Now, you can distribute your podcast on the biggest platforms. You can be right next to Joe Rogan. I mean, no one will listen to it, but you'll be right next to him, theoretically. And it's everything you need to make that podcast. And best of all, it's totally free. You don't even have to buy into a multi-level marketing scheme. None of that here. You don't have to sell to your family or friends. Well, you do, because no one will listen except for your family and friends. But over time, it'll be great. Download the Anchor app and go to anchor.fm, anchor.fm to get started today. Thank you.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Play Along Podcast, a podcast where we play through games. My name is Jared, and I'm here with Ben and Kai, my other two hosts of this wonderful podcast. How are you two doing today?
Good.
You sounded like a robot to me. I know it'll be fine in the edit, but it was really funny.
I forgot that all three of us are going to be on screen at the same time, and so I was drinking my tea blissfully unaware. Yeah.
Before we were recording, while Kai was reading something, I saw Ben pull like a Spider-Man action figure. Was it Spider-Man or was it? Are you going to show us? Oh, sweet. We get to see it. Hey, that's a Spider-Man.
Me and Ellie bought these when we moved in. Not only is it Spider-Man, it's a walkie-talkie. So she has one in. Cool. She has one in the front room. And the idea is if she needs me, she could just. Obviously, I won't hear her because of the headphones.
Squeeze the legs to activate it.
There's a button
you push
here.
You push the bulge, and that's what activates the walkie-talkie.
You do have to speak into his upper thigh, so it kind of looks like you're giving him fellatio. But
yeah, if you should have a button, and you should be able to squirt the other person with web from a distance. That would really be excellent.
Did you get that on eBay? Or did you find that in a real store?
No, we was walking through. We was walking through a toy branch here in the UK called Smith's. Because they sell a lot board games and stuff. So, wow, Jared was like, "Fucking Smiths, the fuck."
He's a big Toys R Us proponent, so he just dropped right out. He was like, "None of."
I mentioned the competition, and you was just gone.
I was like, "Fuck Smiths, I'm out of here."
No, but we were looking for board games, and we saw it, and we was like, "Yeah, fuck it, let's grab that."
That's awesome. I feel like those kind of novelty toy walkie-talkie things don't exist anymore, so it's cool that you found one in the wild.
Yeah, apparently they're still making them. They were all the rage when we were younger, but
Oh yeah, I had the Pokemon ones, like the Pikachu and the Meowth. I had those. Those were great.
They were a thing. What?
Yeah, the Pikachu and Meowth walkie-talkies. You never seen those? You should buy them.
Oh, bro, I'm gonna need to Google that while you talk about the section that we played. But...
Before we get into this section of the game, some housekeeping. If you don't know, Play Along Podcast is a weekly podcast where we break through games in a book club format. The three of us will each take turns choosing a game. We'll split that game into sections, come together each week, recant what happens, and say how we felt about that section. We've played lots of exciting games like Wind Waker. Well, that's what we're playing right now. Ocarina of Time, Metal Gear Solid, and just recently we've played through Disco Elysium. So if any of those sound interesting to you, follow us on social media, give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify now. You can actually do that on Spotify. So go give us a listen and give us a review. But like I said, with my slip up earlier, we are playing through Wind Waker currently. If you missed the last episode, we went through the first dungeon, through Dragon Roost, went to Forest Haven, and ended right before going into the second dungeon of the Forbidden Woods. So like your last one. Oh yeah, go for it.
I was going to say, update. One, these walkie-talkies look fucking ghastly. They are
No, they're
so
awful.
they're awful. And they're
Ghastly,
also
get it?
$40.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, I
that's not
did. That was an
bad.
unintentional pun. Yeah, $40 on eBay.
I mean,
That's not
they were probably
bad.
like
Hold on.
$35 when they came out new.
Yeah. So,
Is there
that's
any sealed copies? Is there any mint
no. These
versions
these
of
are
it?
all like open. There's no mint walkie
Sealed
talkies, unfortunately.
sealed walkie-talkies are nothing. Completely, ruining the entire point of a walkie-talkie. I put it
Yeah.
that
Using it and playing with it. Yeah. Well, good to know. Maybe we'll have some walkie-talkie Pikachu and Meowth cameos in a future episode. And me and Kai will just talk to each other on the podcast through the walkie-talkies because we're in the same house and Ben lives far away, and that wouldn't work.
I mean, I don't know how things are in the UK, but most kids by the age of 8 have a cell phone in the US, and the
Yeah,
walkie-talkie
that's
market
fair.
must have taken a hit. The novelty walkie-talkie. I mean, you can FaceTime
Yeah.
an 8-year-old. Like that sounds weird.
Exactly.
I
Can't do that
don't,
with a
but
Pikachu
you could.
walkie-talkie.
That's
But
it. That's what I mean.
is your cell
these,
phone the shape of an Eevee?
Could be.
it could be a Rotom.
Ooh, Rotom Dex. That's cool. Rotom phone. Yes, getting into the Forbidden Woods, we'll kind of go through our just overall feelings. We don't need to break down every single thing that happened in this dungeon. But Ben, how did you feel about the Forbidden Woods compared to kind of Dragon Roost Cavern?
I liked it. I liked it
Mm-hmm.
more, I think, in a way.
Interesting.
I didn't look at the map once, which is like the first time I've done it playing a Zelda game. Like,
Did you do that when you were playing through Dragon Roost Cavern?
There was points where I had to check with Dragon Roost,
Yeah.
just to work out some of the puzzles and stuff. But with this, it was all fairly straightforward. And you get the boomerang. That's the object for this dungeon.
The item is the boomerang.
And then, from there, you just start to interact with stuff, and it is very easy to tell what you're meant to interact with. There's like things dangling down from the ceiling and things like that.
I really like this aesthetic, like the ambiance and kind of the environment of the Forbidden Woods is really cool. And even though like the dungeon itself feels kind of linear, like it feels like you're definitely being kind of like pushed in a direction.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It never like feels forced. Like I felt like I was like wanting to explore areas going forward, but never felt like I was being forced to do that or anything like that. Like it still feels very kind of open and like exploration and everything.
Yeah, it's definitely a linear dungeon.
Yeah,
but I think it was the aesthetic. I think that's why I enjoyed the aesthetic of it a lot more than I enjoyed the aesthetic of Dragon Roost. Dragon Roost was a good first dungeon, but this one is like, okay, now you know what you're doing. Off you go. Here's this weapon, because the Deku Leaf. Oh, it was actually kind of integral, actually, wasn't it? In Dragon Roost, you had the fins you have to spin. But
in this dungeon,
in
we didn't have
Dragon
the
Roost,
Deku
you had
in Dragon Roost yet. We got the
it
Deku
is
Leaf
in this dungeon, isn't it? Yeah,
in this dungeon. Yeah, where you're spinning the things to move like the platforms back and forth.
Yeah. God. Okay. Yeah. So you get this and the boomerang. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it feels like
what you can do too.
Ago.
Yeah, oh, I know, right? There's so much that happens in this leg. Those sections where you have to like fan the little propellers to move the platforms forward and back. You actually don't have to do that. If you just blow the leaf into the direction you want to go, it'll push you in that direction.
So there is a bit later on where I learned that, but it's towards the end of the dungeon. You're like standing on a platform and you use it to travel down a corridor of water.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked this. It's it just felt. Maybe it's because we got a weapon in this dungeon. So it's like with the boomerang and the Deku Leaf, it just kind of felt more like a Zelda dungeon.
Exactly. Like a Zelda dungeon, yeah, for sure. And I think that the aesthetic definitely, I think Dragon Roost helps build up Forbidden Woods because of how different the environments are. Like obviously Dragon Roost is obviously very cavernous. It's a volcano, and this one is a forest. The environment's different. The music is different. I really enjoyed it. Even though while I was playing this, and Kai can attest to this, I kind of went on autopilot and just kind of beat the dungeon in like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
The thing is, once
doing a speed run.
Yeah.
Once you, because it is linear, once you're on that path, you just go. You know, like you get the boomerang and you're like, oh, okay, right, the fin's dangling. I'm going to cut the fin down from the and then I'm going to fly across. And it becomes, it still hasn't, it's not at the Tower of Lords level. Like Tower of Lords is a lot more monotonous at first.
Yeah, it's a little intricate, much more monotonous, much more complex than this is.
Yeah, and so this is kind of a nice in-between of like, oh, okay, you've got the idea of how... you know, dungeons work in Zelda, because this may well have been a lot of people's first Zelda. Like, so it's kind of like, okay, you've got the idea. We're going to throw some extra bits in there. There's some puzzles you need to solve with this new weapon. And then from there, like, it just kind of adds up and progresses.
Yeah. One of the first things that I remember playing through this dungeon as a kid is actually like the very first room when you walk into the Forbidden Woods. There's a couple of the choo-choos that you have to fight, but then there is the like vine creature that has the eyeball that's on the door that you can't get through. And for the longest time, I remember being stuck in that very first room because I didn't know what to do, because I thought you had to cut all the vines too, because when you get close enough, the eyeball closes. And then when you back up, it opens up again. So, but if you get close enough and you cut, its vines will start falling off. So I always assumed, oh, if I cut enough of the vines, then it'll fall off. But it took me so long to figure out there's like a little acorn that you have to find. And if you pick it up and throw it at the thing with its eyeballs open, that's how it'll kill it. I don't know if you had any struggles with this at all, or you're just like, oh yeah, acorn, eyeball. Let's do it.
I did walk up to it and try and cut the vines.
Yeah.
And then when the vines grew back, I was like, okay, this clearly isn't how I'm supposed to do this.
Yeah.
The thing that I struggled with is those weird fucking moth dudes that shoot the black fins out of their ass.
They're called Mothulas.
Mofulas. You attack them and then they turn around and just like propel these black spiky balls out their behind, and they attach to you, and the more balls that attach to you, the slower you move.
Yeah, it lowers your movement speed.
Yeah, and it took me a hot minute to work out, but if you spin attack, you can knock them off of you. You'll kill some, but you'll knock them all off of you.
Yeah.
So once I worked that out, it was fine. But I was trying to fight this fin
while having those things on you makes things kind of complicated.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Did any of these new enemies stand out, like the Mathula or the little like spike ball creatures? So I'm pretty sure you fight one of the winged ones, because there's some of them that don't have wings that just walk around, and I think the winged Mathula is the mini boss in this dungeon.
Yeah, I liked the winged Mathula because it came after the normal Mathula, so I was familiar with the boss, with the creature, and I was like, okay, this is like an adaptation of that other creature. But even just small fins, like it makes like a sound when it comes towards you. Like it sounds like a fucking jet plane or something.
Yeah.
It comes towards you and it's like, you know, oh fuck. But yeah, and it's good. Like you use the boomerang in that mini boss as well, you know, to sort of knock it down and then get a few hits on it when it's stunned.
I also like this. What you could do too is you can like use the counter. You can use the counter to jump over it and cut its wings off when it flies at you too.
I didn't even know that was a thing you could do.
Yeah, so when it'll like fly in the air, and then when it dives down, the little counter thing will come up, and if you counter it, you can jump and cut its wings off, and then when you cut all 4 of its wings off, it'll just be like a normal Mathula, and then you can just kill it like that.
Right, okay. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But I liked that that mini boss also kind of instilled in me, like, okay, I can use the boomerang to shock enemies.
To like stun them, yeah.
Which is really, really helpful with the choo-choos, because the choo-choos are a pain in the ass to kill.
The electric
especially later on when we do.
I was like, when we do
the Tower of Gods, the electric choo-choos. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Is it Tower of Gods? I think I called it Tower of Lords. But yeah, that dungeon.
I just figured that the UK version, you know, adapted for yourself.
That's the UK version. That's the European version, is the Tower of Lords.
Tower of Lords, yeah. Tower of Gods.
Oof.
Tarot cards, yeah.
And
And now
my
when
jokes.
Well, no, okay, here, I'll have some context to this. I said oof because like your cam is frozen right now and you just have like this resting bitch face but you're like telling a joke and I thought it was funny because you're just frozen.
Yeah, you look very unimpressed.
You do. You look
I
very
am
unimpressed by
very
your own
unimpressed.
joke.
Yeah. But now we have the boomerang. We can
Yes.
just kill those fins on the doors super easy.
Oh, yeah. How'd you feel about the boomerang? It's pretty straightforward. Nothing too crazy.
No, I like having it. It took a bit of getting used to
Is the
using
inverted
free aim.
controls still yeah, exactly.
Yeah, inverted controls are still a thing, so free aiming is a bit of a pain. But I just like Z-locking an enemy and then just hitting whatever button I have it mapped to and just fucking stunning them. Like, it's super simple. I like that. I know it sounds really stupid. I like it always comes back to you, because my worry in real life would be that like I throw a boomerang,
flies away.
like I throw a boomerang, it hits an enemy and then just falls on the floor, and I'm like, oh shit, okay, well,
I
now
can pick that up. Have you ever used a boomerang in real life?
So I only found out recently through TikTok that you're actually supposed to throw them like straight. You're supposed to throw them upright. You're not supposed to throw them
up,
sideways.
not like sideways, like a frisbee.
Yeah. If you if you throw them
Oh.
sideways, they spin and don't come back. If you throw them straight, it will spin and come back to you.
Like if you're like axe throwing, like
yeah, like a tomahawk or something. Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah,
I don't know why, but we had a boomerang day in my grade school where they gave a
What?
bunch of like 9-year-olds boomerangs.
You fucking live in Australia? What's happening here?
No, but honestly, the guy who came to our school, he was like Australian. Like, this was his thing. He was like, "Yo, mate, I make boomerangs," and I'm just like, "What the fuck?"
Was
So
he
your Australian is very close to English.
Whatever, you get the fucking point. All right.
I mean, we owned it at one point, so
That's
I guess
fair.
like,
You owned us at one point too. So
That's also true.
yeah.
thought split hairs.
Yeah.
It was super weird. But I have thrown a boomerang before. I was not very good at it. There is skill to it. It's not just like
We used to get this thing in the UK that like fucking like people would show up, obviously like booked in advance. They wouldn't just show up, but
They just walk into your school.
Here.
like we have a picture indoors of my sister. Somebody brought an owl to school, and all of the kids took it in turns to have a picture with an owl sitting on their shoulder.
Oh, dude, we do weird shit. Going into like grade school anecdotes. There was times where like people came and we'd like pan for gold in like these like bins of like water and stuff. You didn't do that? You didn't like pan
No.
like shift for gold?
Dude, you were getting milked. You were getting fleeced. Someone was like, "Hey,
labor.
we can come to school."
The gold
and we can
wasn't
convince them."
real. It was fake.
We're
We were
gonna-
all excited because we're like, oh yeah, you have to pan for gold. That's exciting.
Learning about the gold rush.
You never did that? Wow.
No.
Interesting.
If you have any secondary school, higher grade school memories, then
let us
know.
Did
Yeah.
you pan
Or-
for gold?
yeah.
Please don't tell
Or
me
if
I'm the
you
only
grew up
one.
in the Inland Empire of Southern California, did you pan for gold, or was this very specific?
It's because we were already so poor. So when we had like the thought and the idea of being able to find riches was so exciting that we're just like, yeah.
Oh my god.
They make you do some
The
weird
lottery.
shit.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah.
I mean, we used to have like in primary school, so it'd be like, I don't know what your first school is. What, like the kindergarten onwards, like
That's elementary for us.
elementary. Okay,
Yeah.
So, we used to have like parachute day, where they'd bring in
Oh.
like a big fucking parachute in the gymnasium, and you'd like play with. They had a bunch of games they made you play with it, where like people would go underneath, and it was like a hide and seek thing, and it was weird.
Interesting.
It was weird.
Do you remember the science teacher from our middle school who had the parasail
Parachute,
thing?
and he made the kids pull him.
You pull him, yeah.
Yep.
What?
He had like a parachute and a big rope, and he'd have all the students run and pull him, and then he would like put him in the air. And I guess it was, I don't know what he was trying to teach us. Maybe he just wanted to have fun in his parachute.
He was a terrible teacher, by the way.
No, he really was.
One of the worst people on the planet. There's a place. We're going on a tangent, but I'm gonna ride with
It's
it.
okay.
There's a place in San Diego where you can go, and rich people will pay to mine for the day for crystals, and all the crystals you find, you get to sell back to the company at probably what is less than their actual value. And that's a brilliant idea. And they were like, man,
that is the most capitalist thing I've ever heard of.
That's where it started in the Inland Empire at my school. It started with panning for gold, and then it was digging for crystals.
They built an empire. They were like, we can get people to do labor.
We can make people pay us to work and then sell
and then
us
get
the products
and then get a
they
portion of it that they found. Capitalism in its finest. Go listen to the Disco Elysium. Go listen to Disco Elysium, guys.
Let us sway you to the dark side.
But Zelda, the boss of this dungeon is the I don't know how to pronounce this, the Calidemon? Demos? The Calidemos?
The Calidemos.
The Cacodemon.
The Cacodemon is Doom.
I'm assuming it's supposed to be like Latin because it's a plant.
But this is very much like a nod to Ocarina of Time and Baronade. The boss fight is almost exactly the same, where you have the tentacles and he's like floating up, and then you hit the things, and then you hit the middle part.
Jared,
remember that? What?
Wait, hang on. Am I thinking of the right one? Baronade. Yes, no, Baronade. Yeah, when you said it, I was thinking about the amoeba boss fight where you had to hook shot it out of the water.
Yeah, in the water temple. The water temple. To be fair, inside Jabu Jabu is also water temple, so I mean it makes sense. You had me sweating there for a second. I was like, oh no, do I not know my Zelda games?
When you said that, and I was like, bro, that's a hook shot, and we're boomeranging vines. Like what?
I don't remember what the water temple boss is in Ocarina of Time, but I'm pretty sure Baronade's the inside Jabu Jabu boss, and that's the one where you get the boomerang in there, and you boomerang the little like umbrella things, and then he falls, and then you hit him on the inside, which is very similar to the Calidemon in here.
I'm pretty sure the amiibo thing is the wall temple boss.
Yeah, it is.
I'm pretty sure.
But when you walk into the boss room, obviously the whole reason why you had come here in the first place was you had to save Makar, who drifted into the Forbidden Woods when he wasn't supposed to, and they're supposed to do the little fucking Makar. They're supposed to do the little ceremony song so that the Great Deku Tree can give you the second orb that you need. You see Makar in there, but he gets swallowed up by this big plant thing, and now what you have to do is use the boomerang to knock its little tendrils from it hanging on the ceiling, and it falls, opens up to see a little plant in there, and you hit the plant a couple times, and that's how you defeat the boss of the Forbidden Woods. How did you guys fare with this boss?
You did a great job.
Explaining it?
No, doing it, because I didn't.
Oh yeah,
I was going to ask Kai what his experience of the dungeon was, and then I was like, that's probably not wise.
He literally did this in 10 minutes. Like,
yeah,
he just goes on autopilot. It's very good. It's nice to watch. It's like watching a really good playthrough. But don't have a lot to talk about on the experience of this part. But.
I didn't mind this boss.
I like this boss.
At this point, I was kind of used to the inverted controls, and this guy has like 20 tentacles that you need to get. So I was just fucking spinning the stick backwards and forwards to try and get all 5, because you can target 5 fins at once. So
if you just keep your, I mean, I only know this from watching Jared play, but if you keep your momentum just going in a circle and then you aim with the boomerang as he hits, that's the easiest way to do it. Because
that's all I did. Was like keep the boomerang on, and you just
keep running in a circle.
Yep.
What do you think that middle part of it? What do you think that middle part of him is?
It looks like a piranha plant, or like one of the Bakabobas or whatever. The little plant things right at the beginning.
I mean, like anatomically.
Oh,
I would assume it's like his heart, right?
I don't think it's like its brain. Like the thing is protecting, like it's like a skull. Like this is like his brain on the inside, and it's like the protective layer on the outside.
Oh, apparently.
Is there lore?
So it says,
do we have lore here for it?
ZeldaDungeon.net. Apparently,
Zelda Dungeon.
So it says Kale Demos is the boss of the Forbidden Woods, the second dungeon. It appears as an enlarged Deku Baba being that lives in a bulb and attaches itself to a ceiling. So the bulb is just a plant. The fin inside is the actual
Deku Baba
creature
attached to it. Because that's what ate Makar. Like when Makar is on the plant, the little Deku Baba comes up and then sucks up Makar in its little mouth, and then it turns into the big bulb.
So and then we get teleported back. We get our heart container, our heart piece, and we get teleported back with Makar. We go back to the Great Deku Tree, and he's like, "Oh, we can finally do our ceremony." and they all start singing and playing instruments,
And he
and
spreads his
then
seed.
he
That's the plan.
literally spreads his seed into the sky.
It's gonna be a Deku Tree empire in the next Wind Waker sequel
Yeah,
And
so
Genghis Khan of the Hyrule, Jesus Christ.
of the sea.
and then so from what I understand, they're trying to essentially make more great Deku trees. They're trying to spread the great Deku
Yeah.
tree around the world.
Or I remember because I ran into one of these guys trying to plant after we do this and some of the other kind of side quests that we can do, and he says that for some reason the seedlings aren't growing, like they're actually wilting, and they need water from the Great Deku Tree spring so they can flourish. But apparently these trees are also what helps keep the Great Deku Tree alive. That because of these sprouts, it gives him energy to sustain his life and everything. But they're not dying, so then you have to go around. I mean, I didn't do that, so I mean, maybe the Deku Tree dies in my in my canon of Wind Waker.
I went over to him and I met two of these, and both of them did the same thing. And they were like, "Oh, we need spring from," and I was like, "Maybe when I can fast travel, I'll come back and do this." But
not now.
I'm not doing it now.
No, I'm not going back for. I already did so much running around.
I mean, finding quests in general, not the funnest thing ever. Like, you know, games normally have these, the pigeons and Spider-Man or whatever you want to put in it. But having finding quests where you have to have an item that's very specific that takes up one of your only 2 bottle slots,
right?
it's just
and
like
having to go back and forth to the Forsaken, the Forest Haven to get water, and then go find these things, and then go back to Forest Haven. It's so much of a hassle.
Also, those little motherfuckers can fly.
Yeah,
So
why would you do it?
Just fly back, get a bottle,
I'll
pour it on
give
the
you
tree.
a bottle. You go do that. Give it back.
Isn't it their job to take care of those trees? Why are they putting it on us? We're the hero of time.
No, we're the hero.
You can be the hero of trees.
So
know your lane.
Out of curiosity, right? Because actually, I'll talk about that when we get to it, because that's part of Naru's Pearl. I wanted to ask a lore question.
Okay. But yeah, our next destination is to go to Great Fish Isle, which is apparently the destination of Nehru's Pearl. But there is so much side questing things that you can do between there and then. Ben, I don't know if you did anything or if you had one that stood out more than others, but I did a little exploring between here and the Great Fish Isle.
So I get confused because I did a metric fuck ton of side questing in this leg. But I can't remember when I done it. So I think I'll just go over.
Yeah, just like what side questing
I did,
and anything that stood out.
So I visited both of the Great Fairies.
Yeah.
So I can now hold 5,000 rupees.
We can hold 1,000 rupees.
Because there's a Great Fairy on Outset Island.
Yes.
And then there's a Great Fairy by Tingle Tower. Tingle's map shows a Great Fairy that you can go and visit. So I did them.
Before you continue, what are your thoughts on the design of the Great Fairies in Wind Waker? Because Kai was disappointed that there was not a weird
polygonal. There's no boobies.
Yeah, I mean,
or dicks.
You know, given Nintendo's track record of scantily clad fairies, you know,
these don't follow that.
No, I mean, Ocarina had the pointy boobs. Breath of the Wild is just like voluptuous,
just big women,
and so. Like, to have this, like, metal-looking, like... For some reason, when the fairy first appeared... I know this sounds horrible. When it first appeared, it reminded me of Vishnu, you know, like the god.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the god? Yeah, and like the
forearms
where it's got, like, the hands and stuff, yeah. And I was like, are they just ripping off, like, a Hindu god here or something? Like, what the fuck's going on?
But even Vishnu's got better titties. Sorry.
Hey,
no, it's fair.
Don't hate on the flat titty gang, okay? Small titties.
That's why Vishnu gets worshipped, and the Great Fairies of Wind Waker don't.
I'm an equal opportunity lover. I love the pig cheeks. And I'm out here loving fairy titties, but there's a whole generation of children who only played this game, and they will never be sexually aroused by a polygonal fairy, and that's a damn shame, and explains a lot about the state of the world.
Arguably, the best part of the Great, I don't have an issue with the Great Fairy. I mean, they're fine. I was just playing into the joke.
Why does that head look like choo-choo jelly?
It does look like a choo-choo, but the best part of the Great Fairy in general is when you capture fairies in the bottle, it shows the little fairies in the bottle, and they're just
Such a derpy
sad. They have
face. It's
like a little
brilliant.
tear, and they're like sad that
Yeah,
they're
they have
being
a tear in it
captured.
now. I mean,
It's
that's
so sad.
devastating.
It's absolutely brilliant. They're just like against the glass. It's
Yeah.
fucking brilliant.
I'm just like, wow, I kind of don't want to capture you at this point. I feel bad now.
So okay, right. So I did the fairies.
Yeah.
I visited a couple of submarines and got some bits off of the submarines.
Yeah.
I have one of the Triforce charts already.
Oh my gosh.
Because I cheesed the game.
Oh,
There you go.
So
hey, honestly, the most controversial part of this between the Wind Waker version is the Triforce thing, because I believe most, if not all of yours, are charts, and ours got changed to only a couple of them being charts and some of them being in like newer dungeons that they added into the HD version. So hey, if you can get it done now, then by all means.
I didn't know what I was doing, right? So
Yeah.
later on you get the bombs, but before that
Yeah.
you don't have the bombs, and there are ships floating around on certain islands that it's like
Mhm.
a fort, and they shoot bombs at you. And one of them I found you just go straight in, there's no one blocking the door, but this one I found there was a boat blocking the door, and I was like, well, if someone's blocking the door, it's got to be fucking good. So I'm like cruising around trying not to get hit by these bombs, and then one of the ships tried to shoot me. The bomb missed and it hit the other ship.
Oh, that's convenient.
And I was like, oh, okay, I can use these ships to destroy each other. So I gradually just took them out. I took out the ship.
You didn't have bombs yet, so you were just doing it like
No.
this? That's so awesome. That's so cool that you
I
managed to
took
do
out
this.
I took out the ship blocking the door, and went in, got the treasure, and I was like, oh cool, it's a Triforce chart. Like, I don't know what I was expecting. I'm sure I've cut myself one quest off from later down the game.
Yeah, you have.
But like at the time I was like, oh my god, it's gonna be like some fucking like new weapon. I'm gonna have like a fucking new sword or something, or no.
Sadly, just a chart. I mean, it's still exciting that you found a piece of the Triforce chart.
Oh,
See,
yeah.
the issue with those is you have to take them to Tingle to be deciphered, and then you still have to go find them. So that's the issue of why it's more tedious. Is all of those, all of those are associated with a treasure chart. Have to go to Tingle and then go find the treasure.
So
even if you have treasure charts, Tingle just goes, "There's nothing I can read right now," and you're like,
exactly.
Do you know how much he charges you to decipher?
I remember it being less in the HD version, but I don't remember how much it is in the GameCube.
398 rupees per chart.
That I now it's coming back to me. I remember, and when you can only hold at this point 500 now, that is going to be a bitch having to do later.
Yeah. So at that point, I could only hold 200 because I hadn't been to the fairies yet.
Oof.
Mm.
So you couldn't even do it
actually,
like, at that point. You couldn't do it. You couldn't even do it. You couldn't hold that much money.
No. And I did some bits later on. I played the bidding game. I went to the auction at nighttime on Windfall.
Yeah, we did that.
I gave up in the end because I was just trying to get through the auctions to get to the fucking Swift sale, and I didn't have enough rupees. Because this, right... Okay, so for context, to anyone who doesn't know, there is a bidding auction minigame you can play on Windfall Island at night time. Is in that room where you can smash the pots and the guy charges you compensation. At night time, somebody rents it out for auctions. Auctions are a minute long, and essentially what happens is random NPCs will just bid on stuff, and you press A to fill up a meter, and once it's full, you bid, and if you bid a certain amount, you can stun the other people, and then they can't bid. The idea is just to win the auction. You have to get through the first 4 items to get to the Swift sale, which lets you sell faster. But if you don't buy those first 4 items, like I just left when one of the treasure charts come up, went back in, and then the auctioneer was like, "Oh, so and so won this last auction, but for some reason they don't want it, so it's back up." And it's like until you buy them, you can't get to the Swift sale.
So Ben, the Swift sale is only in the HD version. It is not in the game. It is not in the GameCube version, unfortunately.
Are you fucking serious right now? I'm gonna fucking... Who wrote this? ZeldaDungeon.net. I'm coming for you. fucking.
It is not in the GameCube version, and you're right in explaining everything that you have to do in the auction. But what happens is the items come up at random, so you can get treasure charts, you can get heart pieces, and there's a random percentage to have the Swift Sale appear. So if you just leave and come back and keep doing that, the items will start to change, and eventually the Swift Sale will come up, and that's what we did as well. You go out and in. Also, like you were saying, it has to be at nighttime. They only do this auction at night, and then we did eventually get the Swift Sale, but it is only in the HD version.
209 rupees.
Yep, 209.
We got a Swift Sale.
Are you
And not only does the Swift Sale make you faster,
Oh, it's so good.
but we learned you don't have to change the direction of the wind. You can go in any direction
Nope.
you want.
You can literally
with
sail
Swift
without
Sale.
changing the direction of the wind, which is amazing.
That's pretty cool.
Very nice.
Oh, it
Yeah.
says Swift Sale HD in brackets. I'm so fucking.
I'm sorry, Ben.
So
You started talking about the
you
auction,
don't-
and then you started talking about the Swift Sale. I was like, oh no, Ben, there's no Swift Sale in the GameCube version.
you don't know how long I spent in that auction
Oh,
trying to get
no.
that fucking Swift Sale.
I'm so sorry. I feel
and
bad.
No, I don't. This shit happens. So most of the stuff that I did was kind of going from island to island and realizing
Yeah.
that I couldn't do much on the islands that I had visited. I seem to have free reign now. I haven't been stopped by the Lion King.
I was gonna get on that as well. As that we can go anywhere at this point, because that's what I did. I've traveled all over the place.
Yeah, I've traveled all over the place. I haven't used any bait. I've used some here and there, but I should really start baiting all the islands that I go to. And the other
especially
thing
because,
fast travel works later.
Yes, that's how fast travel works later.
Yeah, exactly. So the last thing I did that I actually did before we do anything else plot wise was I defeated the giant squid.
Oh, nice. Because you have
I
the boomerang now,
boomeranged
so you can take out the giant squid.
Yeah, I boomeranged his eyes out.
There's actually 3 different versions of him with all a variety of different amount of eyes. I think it was 4, 8, and 12.
Oh, you get nothing.
You get nothing.
Oh, cool. That's cool.
You're just
Cool.
You're going along, and all of a sudden the music starts to play, and then a whirlpool appears, and he just comes out, and you get nothing.
It might be a different one because it says when you defeat big. Oh yeah, sharks are a pain in the ass.
No, keep going. We can go back. I'm gonna rant on sharks, but go for it.
No, I was just saying it says in the walkthrough here that when you defeat Big Octo, so I don't know which one that is, a great fairy will appear and give you a magic meter upgrade. I don't know if that is as well just the HD version, but it doesn't premise that. But I know there is different versions of the Big Octo because there says one. Let's see, Big Octo
At this location. 12-eyed Big Octo.
Yeah, it's 4-eyed, 8-eyed, and 12-eyed are the 3 different Big Octos that you can get.
Yeah, so I didn't
8?
do. I think I did 8. Yeah.
This one looks like a 4. So when you get the 4 Big Octo, you get the Great Fairy. I don't know. Yeah, go on your shark tirade here. Okay.
Sharks are the most fucking annoying enemy. Also, whoever designed the rate and amount that they appear set that shit way too high. I don't know how this is in the GameCube version, but I can tell you for sure in the Wii U version that, first of all, the fact that you have to stop, put your sail down, get your boomerang out, throw the fucking boomerang, kill it, and then immediately as you do that and go on your merry fucking way, another one pops out of nowhere and the goddamn music comes back. Luckily, with the Swift Sail, you can kind of outrun them, so it's not as annoying. But before that, it's literally the worst. It's the stupidest enemy. There's no point. It's there to upset you.
Also, the big fucking pufferfish looking things, the big purple pufferfish that come at you bombing in the water.
They will knock you off your boat. Like they'll knock you out.
They're bastards.
They remind me of, I don't know if it's like a nod to the enemy, but remember in Ocarina of Time there was like the big spinning pineapple things in the Hyrule Field.
Oh yeah,
that's kind of what they remind me of, and I don't know if it's like a nod to that. I don't know what their name is. Maybe it is, but that's what I thought of.
Yeah, no, it's very similar to that. Very similar,
also,
but like you said, why do you have to put the fucking sail down? Sorry,
that's the biggest
also,
issue.
If the boat is going at full speed and you jump and hit them, you take damage. It should be Mario physics. If I jump and hit a shark with the boat, the shark should die. But no, you take half a heart damage for hitting a shark. I'm just like, what?
All of that would be mitigated if you could still like traverse, if you could still continue your momentum as you were like throwing your boomerang or something. But I guess you have to put your sail away. I guess it makes sense. It just sucks. It's just tedious.
No, it doesn't make sense, man.
Also,
that's the thing. Like
the red lion is fucking sentient. What is he doing? Nothing.
Right.
Brings nothing to the table.
I want to fucking ask this, right? Because
Okay, here we go.
it doesn't make sense because when there's a boat and you're sailing, right?
Yes.
Once the sail's up, the wind is your accelerator. Like if you stop, the boat carries on. So there's no reason why you can't target while moving. You wouldn't be able to steer, but you should be able to move.
Target.
Secondly, like Kai said, Red Lion is sentient. Like, fucking do something, bro. Like, Jesus Christ. He adds nothing.
Literally anything. Bite him.
Yeah, I mean, bite him. Fucking, you know, maybe you sail yourself while I'm, like, trying to stop these fins from killing us. You know?
He does not get any more useful as the game progresses.
Surprise.
Yeah, fucking.
In the sense of us utilizing the cannon and things like that we get when we get bombs and everything.
See,
but other than that,
the cannon and the grappling hook to some extent, I understand, because as much as I don't like it, it's his design issue. He has like one area for tools, so the sail goes away, the grappling hook comes out.
Right.
But in terms of the boomerang, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense.
And we just get the bow at the end of this section, so I wonder if you could shoot it while moving.
So
probably not.
I don't think
I
so.
I wouldn't imagine so. I wonder, like, I don't know if you guys did this, but what I ended up doing is when I was exploring the islands and stuff, I ended up just leaving it on autopilot. I just put the sail up and just like walked away. I went and made.
There was lots of times. Like last night, I think I like got a bowl of ice cream or something. I like stood up and I was just like put it on cruise control and I was like to this island. Unless like some sharks come up, then there's nothing stopping you from just like.
So I ended up just jumping over the sharks because I got fucking bored of them. Like
I tried jumping them and I still got hit by them and I still took damage.
I waited for them to come and like you just maybe they made it harder in the HD version. I don't know, but like
I ended up like just like swerving around them. That's what I do because when they come towards you, they kind of like hop out of the water, and when you try to jump, they kind of hit you, and then you get knocked.
Do you know what it is? Right, it's balance. They were like, "We'll get rid of the grappling hook animation, get rid of the wind change animation, but add more sharks.
We'll add more sharks. This game needs more sharks." Jesus. Was there any other side quest things that you did kind of before we start doing these narrative bits?
No. Everything I did after this was on the way to the other places.
Yeah. Ours was relatively the same. It was kind of just explore islands. Ours was really kind of just like heart piece gathering. Like we went from island to island and got the variety of pieces of heart that we can get to fill up our heart containers. We did the boat race mini game. That's kind of in the far like bottom left corner of the game.
Oh, you just randomly remembered. I wanted to talk about that because that is I might go visit him actually because that is a brilliant.
It's a good way to farm rupees.
Yeah, you pay
like 138 rupees.
Yeah. I mean the problem for us was we had like almost max rupees at that point. We hadn't got the ferry, so we had 500, which is still a lot.
So when I did it, I had 200, which was my max at the time. Oh, no. And I was like, oh, cool, minigame. I paid the 30 rupees entry, and then I collected like 129 rupees.
Devastating.
And then basically got my 30 back, and I was just like,
that's
okay, fuck this.
Wow, they really like screwed you with the like rupee carrying capacity in the GameCube version. Because like you said, the other thing that we did was the Great Fairy, which we upgraded our rupee pouch, so we're not going to hold 1,000. But the boat mini game was fun. You kind of just do this obstacle course and jump over barrels to get coins, which we've seen traversing the ocean. Normally they'll pop up randomly. The difference with this is there's like some exploding barrels that you have to avoid, but it's pretty fun overall.
Yeah, no.
We bought a lot of shit from Beetle. That's how we spent a lot of our coins.
Bought a lot of pairs, a lot of the bait,
a lot of pairs,
so we can bait all those islands and get them on the map for future references.
We're tired of having full coins. There's really nothing you can buy at the beginning of this game. I mean, obviously you get to eventually.
The biggest thing we purchased was the treasure sale auction thing, which was
only 209.
I know that was the biggest thing we bought at that point.
Yeah, but that's what I was going to say. Is like, I was going to touch on it towards the end when we do like a wrap up. But I was walking around with 200 rupees, like from whenever I hit 200 the first time, I had 200. It wasn't until I was like, okay, fine, let me buy some bait and stuff. That I started to lose money, but
even
I
though
had
even
200
then it's not that
rupees.
much.
Like,
It's not that expensive. The pears and the bait aren't that expensive, even if
I
you
think they're
have
like
a
10
max at 200.
rupees for 3 servings. Like,
Exactly.
I mean, as we move forward, you're going to have to buy bombs and arrows,
right?
and you're
So
going to
there's more
have
things
to
to
get
buy.
treasure charts figured out, and there's
Yeah.
more things that we will purchase moving forward. So, like,
Yes.
but even
early
then,
in the game, you get a lot of rupees.
The bombs are 30 rupees for 30 bombs. Like, that's good
That is
economy.
a steal and a steal right there. A rupee a bomb?
Yeah, right?
But also, that's because Beetle's doing a sale.
He was doing. We got a little message in the mail that he said he was doing sales on bombs when we first.
I need to find where's Rock Spire Island. Apparently, there's a ship there that has rare items.
Yeah. I also got the letter for that. We haven't explored it yet.
I think it's right in front of, and I know in front is complicated, but of Outset. Like
you mean north of?
Yeah, if you're going towards Outset, when you're trying to go towards Outset, you pass it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But Nehru's Pearl.
Yes, I think that's all the side questing stuff we did. Again, just gathering rupees, gathering heart pieces, doing some bow mini games. A lot of stuff that I actually hadn't done in my like original playthroughs of this game. So that was fun. There was a couple like little dungeony kind of things that I had never experienced before, and that was fun. Even if they're very short and just led to heart pieces, it was cool experiencing them. But yes, now we had to go to Great Fish Isle, which is supposedly the location of the Nehru's Pearl. But once we get there, Great Fish Isle is in tather. It is destroyed.
Big Nagasaki vibes.
Not only like if there were structures on this island, like Jesus Christ. No.
No one laughed at that. That was gonna be really bad.
It didn't register in my head. I wasn't even like ignoring it. I didn't like think about it, and then it hit me what you said.
The entire island is split in half.
That's what I was getting to. It's like it's not like there were structures on this island that was destroyed. This island is broken into pieces and it is just destroyed.
Yeah.
Kai, your face cam is still frozen, and it's just your hands in your face, and it's great.
And essentially,
our internet rocks.
I know, right?
Yeah. From what I remember about it, essentially, the what's his name? The King of the Red Lions.
King of the Red Lions, yeah.
He says that Ganon has done some sort of curse, and that is what has cursed this island. And how do you find out about Jaboon? Because Jaboon isn't there.
Yeah, so he tells you that Ganondorf must have. We were too late. The Ganondorf had made it to this island, but it seems like that Jaboon has escaped elsewhere, and right now we don't know where that is. While we're talking to the King of Red Lions, Quill shows up, and Quill tells us, he talks about, again, the island and everything, and he talks about how the pirates that we are working with, Tetra and her pirates, are at Windfall, and he heard that they might have information as to where Jaboon might be. So now our next destination is to head to Windfall Island to try to get more information to try to find where Jaboon is, which obviously Jaboon, nod of Jabu Jabu.
I was going to say, is there like some sort of descendant thing? Because like Jaboon is a god, Jabu was a god, like...
Yeah, no, it's definitely like a nod to Jabu Jabu from Ocarina. There's a lot of Ocarina of Time references in this, with almost like the epilogue of this game being, the prologue of this game being like the story of Ocarina of Time.
Of Ocarina,
Yeah. Now we're tasked to heading to Windfall to try to find out more information of Jaboon. When we get to Windfall, there is their giant pirate ship is just like parked right out front, and the King of Red Lions tells us to go ashore and try to find the pirates and figure out what they're doing. Ben, I'm curious of how you kind of went about this, because obviously I played the game before, so I knew immediately go to Bomb Shop and do the cutscene and then get the password. But how did you kind of go about doing all of this?
So I did a bit of exploring on Windfall, and was talking to people. And if you go into the coffee shop, there's lots of talk in the coffee shop from the people there about pirates on the island and I can't remember who it is. There's an NPC that's just walking through the town of Windfall Island, and he's like, "Oh yeah, the pirates are here. I saw them."
Sketchy Mario.
No, it's not Sketchy Mario.
Mario's my favorite character.
It's the guy who's
terrifying.
The generic looking white guy. He
me.
Yeah. He's like, "Oh, I I remember seeing them. They were walking towards the bomb shop, and so it was
I see.
from there. I tried to knock on the door, and they're like, go away. And so I went around the side. I was like, maybe there's like a side entrance, and you climb up the vines, and then you crawl through the tunnel.
Like the
into
rafters
the
of the bomb shop. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that tunnel when we were there the first time. I knew it would come back. I called that tunnel out. Do you remember that?
I do. Like, that tunnel's gonna be important. I was like,
give me my
That
due.
tunnel was there.
one thing that
I
I
have
forgot
eyes
to,
for tunnels.
one thing I forgot to say before is when we were doing our side questing thing, and I don't know how you did this, Ben, but when we had to do the auction thing, you go to the Elvis guy and he teaches you a song to change it from night to day. I don't know if you did that or if you actually like waited till nighttime and did that.
No,
So we get a new song too.
You get the Son of Passing, and I did this because of the walkthrough, and it is the lamest way to get a song ever.
Woo!
You walk up to the guy, and he's like literally dancing on someone's grave.
Yeah, literally dancing on someone's grave.
And you get the Wind Waker out, and you're just standing there. I thought the game had like froze or something. It's just like, boo, boo, boo. Like you can't interact. And he's like, oh my god, that rhythm.
Tempo.
Now I remember.
Yeah, the rhythm.
It's like, bro, how do you not remember 3/4? It's literally 3 notes.
It would have been wild if they did like a 6/4 1. It was like this long, intricate one. Like, okay, well, that makes sense why you might have forgotten because it was complicated, but it was literally just 3 notes.
Yeah, it was literally, was it like left, right, down?
Yes.
Or right, left, down is one of them.
Yeah, it's one of those directions.
I'm gonna be honest, though, Elvis, one of the best characters in this game. I think it's awesome. Like, it's so out of place for every other Zelda game. There's no other Zelda game with a character that interesting. I want to play a whole game just exploring his backstory.
With Wind Waker Elvis.
That's my dream. It's awesome.
It's something.
If you're listening.
It's something. So at this point,
yes,
I thought my game was bugged. I'm not gonna lie.
No.
Because I'm exploring in between
Windfall.
What's the name of the fucking island? Yeah, no. What's the name of the island that we went to that was cursed?
Oh, Greatfish.
Greatfish. I'm exploring between Greatfish and Windfall. Anything that's in that proximity, I'm looking at. And I found Salvatore, who is the guy from Windfall who has the bomb game that Jared did, where you got the perfect score.
Oh yeah.
He has like some sort of mini game on an island somewhere.
I'm here for it.
But you can't do it at nighttime, only during the day.
Yeah, and so, it's perpetual night at this point too.
Yes, exactly. It's perpetual night. And so I'm waiting. I'm like, oh my god, nothing is fucking happening. What the hell? Okay. So I save my game, I turn it off, I come back, and it's still nighttime.
Oh, did you think it was like broken and you're like stuck in nighttime?
Yeah, I thought my game was broke because all the shops were closed. Like I couldn't, you can't access the potion shop on Windfall Island because it's closed.
Well, you also don't get like information to this until you get to Outset after the whole password thing, and then that's when the King of Red Lions tells you that it's perpetually nighttime. You don't have to worry about like the pirate because you find out. He just says, he's like, oh, I don't know if you noticed, but morning hasn't risen. It's like, yeah, it's been on my mind for the past 2 hours of gameplay. Like, oh, that's funny.
He's the King of Red Lions and also the King of pointing out the obvious. So, he has 2 titles.
But yes, when we crawl into the crawl space, we are into the bomb shop and like in the rafters, and we see that the pirates are in there and they've kidnapped the bomb guy, and they're like, oh, we need these bombs more than you. Tetra's in there, they're taking bombs. Tetra eventually like looks up and sees us in the rafters, and Link scoots back, but you can still like see the tip of his hat, which I think is hilarious. He's very bad at hiding.
She's a little tease. She like winks and she's
she like winks up at him because the crewmates are saying that they want us like stay here for another overnight because they're tired and they're hungry. And Tetra's like, well, let's go get this treasure now. And when she sees Link, she's like, oh, okay, well, actually, let's spend a night here or whatever, and you guys can rest and eat up and have a day off essentially.
The pirates. Do you remember the reason why they tie him up? Because there is a reason.
Oh, I don't think I remember that.
So they go in and they try to buy bombs, but you remember I bitched in one of the episodes that the bombs are all like
They were
10,000
too
rupees.
expensive, and then so they tied them up
Yeah.
because it was too pricey.
Yeah, and they're like, this is what you get for holding a monopoly on the market. Like, this is like,
I do remember that now.
they are some communist ass pirates.
Anti-capitalist pirates over here, little ANCAP pirates.
So they're basically
sailing the seas.
Yeah, they're basically just like, oh, okay, if you're going to charge us an extortionate amount, we'll just tie you up and take them.
That's funny.
And then after Tetra does her little wink and everything, two of these pirates have a conversation. One of them's like talking. It's the small guy with the glasses is talking to one of the big guys.
Mhm.
And, you know, he's like, oh, you're so cunning. I didn't expect you to be so cunning, blah, blah. And they have a conversation where they mention the password.
Yes.
Now,
multiple
I
times.
didn't know until reading the walkthrough that the password changes every single game.
Oh.
Oh.
What was ours? Oh, no.
So
Swordfish or something like
Is
that.
it the P?
See, mine was
Plankton.
treasure.
It was plankton.
Oh, ours was plankton, yeah.
So it did say something here. It says, note, the password is constantly changing and will differ from game to game. There are only a set amount, including treasure and schooner. Schooner. But yeah, mine was treasure.
Interesting. Yep, ours was plankton.
This is when I made my mistake and left Windfall Island.
Oh, no.
Because I was like, oh, okay, the pirates are staying here. And that's the point. We hear Tetra talking about how Jaboon is in a cave by Outset Island that is like blocked up by stone, and they're going to use these bombs to blow it up. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to go to Outset Island before they get there.
Oh, no.
And
you're missing a key element of that plan. Point that out.
Yeah. I'm on my way to Outset Island, and I get halfway there, and I'm like, it's still nighttime. This isn't right. Something's wrong. Why hasn't it become morning? And I was like, man, they really emphasized that password. Like, why was that so important? Am I going to need it in Outset Island? And I was just like, something does not feel right. I'm going to check the walkthrough. And then that's when the walkthrough tells me you're supposed to climb up to where the grave is, jump onto the ship, and use the password to gain access. And I was like, that makes sense. Okay. And do you know the annoying thing is that on the map, maybe in editing, I'll put a picture of the map up for people to see, but Windfall is like here, and Outset is here. And I was 1 square north of Outset when I realized that I needed to go back to Windfall.
Oh, dude, that sucks. I think I'm trying to remember my thought process as playing this as a kid. I think that I remember, them talking about the pirates and referencing the pirates, being like, "Oh, I'll go to their ship first," and I go to the ship, and someone says like, "Oh, what's the password?" I don't know it, and then when they reference password in the bomb shop, I'm like, "Oh, password pirate ship. Let's go there first." It would make sense.
I don't know why. It's my fault. Like, the game put it up on a silver platter. You know, like when you come to
they repeat it multiple times. Like, the password is
like 3 times.
When you come to Windfall Island, the King of the Red Lions is like, oh, look at that big boat, that big pirate boat. And then the pirates say the password 40 times, and my fucking dead ass brain was just like, no, let's go back to Outset.
Go back to Outset.
I'm ready.
That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate.
You're like, what's the password? Like,
I mean, luckily,
what was that again?
Yeah, exactly. Luckily, the things in the ship aren't like too tedious or anything. Like, you had to do all this big stuff before then, so it's not too bad.
No, I did struggle with the ship.
I did more than the original one. Yeah. Definitely.
Oh, a lot more. Yeah. So
the swinging.
Yeah.
So fucking annoying. But did they? When you did the password, what did they ask you? Because mine, they were like, oh, what do pirates like more than anything? And then the keypad comes up and you have to type in treasure.
Oh, I don't remember what the prompt is for plankton.
I think it was like, what do whales eat?
Oh, okay. I was curious if there was
something whale related.
Krill, not plankton. God.
Whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like, what's the name of the creature from SpongeBob who's always trying to steal the
Who owns the chum bucket?
That would have been so much better. I would have loved that.
They would have been sued.
That's okay. They can win. I guess Nintendo got this.
They got their Nintendo money, dog.
Nickelodeon is owned by Viacom.
Oh, wow.
They're not winning that.
Yeah.
But we do make our way aboard the ship regardless. And we are met once again with Nico. After
Nico, our
having
little
gained
friend.
to the room. And Nico's like, yo, you're back. Oh my God. Since you've been gone, you know, I can feel for the first
I
time.
can't breathe for the first time. Someone's gonna do it.
Waiting.
Someone's gonna do it.
It's like, okay, there we go.
No, he basically explains that he has been relegated back to the bottom of the pirate tier. And is like, you know, oh, now you're back. You're the newbie again. And I made this new challenge for you, and you're not going to be able to do it. And he's like, if you
Someone
do
doesn't learn lessons.
Yeah, he's like,
Exactly.
if you do it, I will give you the treasure. I will give you the bombs that we just stole. And you're like, all right, cool, bet, let's go. And this took me like at least 9 attempts. I'm not even gonna lie.
Oh,
Yeah, it took us a couple because I definitely didn't.
Go on.
Oh, I was like, I definitely didn't do it on the first try, and the difference here is there's no platforms. Where the other one, you swing from platform to platform, you have to swing from rope to rope, and the ropes are moving as well.
That was what did me. So when you press the switch, it unbars the door to the bombs. And the thing that kept screwing me is not only are the ropes spinning backwards and forwards, but they're moving along this like pulley system or something. And so it's like I would just miss the hitbox. Like I would jump and I'd be like, oh yeah, Link should be able to make that. And he would like just fucking whiff it and completely miss. So it took me a while because every time you get on a rope, you have to like stop, spin, start spinning again, and like it took a good few attempts.
I wonder if they made it mechanically easier in the Wii U version.
Jared, you're muted, Jared.
Him. Sorry, I literally muted the entire time. Having a whole conversation. No, what I was saying is I think they made it easier in the HD version because you don't have to stop to change directions. You have to stop to go up and down the rope, but you can just move the analog stick and you can move into directions.
Oh yeah, no, so you can't do none of that on the GameCube. You have to physically stop.
You don't have to stop.
And go. Yeah. But now we have bombs.
Yay, bombs. Bams. And now we can go to Outset, and now we can destroy the wall. There's a couple of things you can do.
Difficult. Oh my God, we'll talk about it. But fuck this wall.
I did it on the first try.
That was really easy.
No, it's not.
Did you do any of the kind of side content that you can do on Outset? You can visit the ferry here.
Best believe I went to the ferry and I went to Orc. Those were like my first fucking 2 thins, man.
Yeah. Went to the ferry, got where we got the wallet upgrade was here on Outset, and that's where we got that. If you go to 1,000, it's a lot. If you go into your house, your grandma is sad and just like moaning and groaning that like, oh, Link, Errol, where are you? I'm sad. I'm an old lady. But
she's like, don't leave your poor grandma. And I'm like, oh man, that's a guilt trip.
Fucking guilt trip grandma over here.
I'm supposed to take care of you.
Yeah, but if you go and give her a fairy, she's very happy, she's very excited, and then she gives you the elixir, which heals not only your magic, your hearts, but gives you double extra damage on your sword attack until you get hit for the first time, which is wild.
This is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, that is grandma coming in clutch.
Such a fucking great potion.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not only that, but whoever thought of giving your grandmother a fairy and like she's sick and like comes back to life, that's just so cool. Yeah. That's so smart.
I genuinely
good on you.
So the first thing I did was I went to Outset Island, right? The very first thing I did was I went and visited Orca. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. I was like, okay, let's go. I want to show this guy my sword.
Is this the 100 hit thing that you have to do?
Yeah, 100 hit thing. Yeah, I got to 190.
Oh, nice.
Because so the first thing I did was showed him the Knight's Crest. Because I got a letter at some point that was like, oh, if you ever collect a Knight's Crest, come and show me. I really want it. Yeah. And he tells me I need like 15 or something. I've only got 1. Yeah. So I then challenged him. If you want to try and go for the 1,000, there's a really easy pattern that I noticed, but you can't get too greedy, which is what I did wrong. Is basically, if you keep attacking him, eventually he will block. And when he blocks, he will immediately attack you afterwards, and you can just shield and block.
Oh,
or you can parry. Like I was trying to do the parry system, and failed big time.
What do you get?
I got rupees, I do believe.
Oh.
1 second.
Oh, wait, you get
Easier
a
ways to
silver
get that.
rupee. If you did 999 times, you get a silver rupee.
Yes, if you do 999, you get a silver rupee.
500, 1,000, 10,000.
It's
20,000?
There's 100.
I want to say it's 500 because orange is 100.
Orange is 100, yes. 500 you get a heart piece, and then the silver. I don't know what the silver
Ethereum,
is.
Bitcoin,
Bitcoin. Just keep saying
NFTs.
words.
Yeah, just keep saying.
Oh,
words.
I wanted to say as well, like a small thing that I really like is you know the pigs who are packing.
Yeah,
How could I
floppy
forget?
lips. Yeah,
Yeah, floppy lips.
Mhm.
I only noticed
Picked up floppy lips.
I only noticed recently that if you grappling hook them and you get the skull necklace from them,
Where's this going?
it comes off of the model. Like the actual model itself loses.
I didn't
the skull
even realize
necklace.
that. That's super cool.
You can see
That's
there's like
really
a
cool.
big fucking skull on their chest, and after you take it, it's gone. Which I like. That's really nice detail.
It took me a surprisingly long amount to find this amount because I typed in silver rupee amount and it gave me the like rupee to dollar thing there,
like
and I was
the
like,
Indian currency.
That's
or
not what I
whatever.
want. But a silver rupee is 200.
Oh, okay.
So for hitting him
You hit him
1,000 times, you get
times?
200 rupees. Which for some people, if you don't get the extra wallet, is your full wallet. And if you had any rupees, it would have been a waste of time. If you're playing the GameCube version.
Yeah.
It should definitely be like a strength upgrade.
Like
I'm
a sword
sorry.
upgrade.
They fucked that up.
He gives you the Master
100%.
Sword.
It says here.
No, but
Oh, go on. Oh, yeah, he gives you the Master Sword.
or like the Hylian shield,
That'd be cool.
like the blue and
Mhm.
silver Hylian shield with the gold
He'd be
accent. Like,
yeah.
he's
come
like,
on,
oh,
man.
you're worthy of this now. Like,
Yeah,
The main one.
or like
Go on. Sorry.
go for it.
No, it's
Or a different outfit.
yeah.
That
I was
was
gonna say
Like a knight's outfit.
the main one that you should probably go for here apparently is 500 times. He gives you a piece of heart.
It's hard, yeah. Other than that, it's not worth it. So if you're playing along, don't worry about Orcus thing
No.
that much.
But I wanted to touch on what Kai said about the fairy because that's like after Orca, I went and spoke to Grandma, and Grandma's sick, and she's like says all that stuff about not leaving her, and I was like, man, she took me leaving really
Very
badly.
hard.
Bad.
Like,
Yeah.
and I just was like, man, there's nothing I can do. Like, what the fuck can I do? So I left, went and sort of the Great Fairy, blew up the hole, got the fountain, got my upgrade. I'm pretty sure I can carry 5,000 now.
Oh, interesting.
I'm pretty sure. I'll have to have a double check.
Rupees?
5,000 rupees?
Yeah, I swear I can, man.
5,000? Jesus.
I swear that's what it said. But
And rolling in the deep.
so
over here.
I was
Jesus
walking
Christ.
around afterwards. I was like, what the fuck do I do?
Mm.
Like, I had no clue what to do. And then when I checked the walkthrough, it said about the fairy. I was like, that is so fucking genius. Like, she's not like mentally not mentally unwell. She's like physically unwell for whatever reason.
Yeah, physically and mentally.
I thought it just pushed her over the edge. I felt really bad.
Okay. My mind went to a very dark place immediately, and I don't know if I want to share that.
I shit on Breath of the Wild a lot. But one criticism I have, I know we're not in the point where we talk about criticisms yet, but I'm going to share it anyway. One criticism I have about this game is the item diversity sucks dick.
Yeah.
Like, you get 1 billion coins and all the items you get from the dungeons, and really nothing comes from outside other than the stupid necklaces and the king's crests or the knight's crest. And yeah, a wiggly finger. What?
Well, I was gonna say if you're doing Orca, I would honestly the hitting mini game or whatever is not really worth it. But if you get the 10 Knights crest that you need, you actually get a new move called the Hurricane Spin, which spins Link around like a little tornado with his sword, and it hits all enemies around you.
Okay, that's worth it.
I mean, that's cool.
All
That's
right.
like a
Anyway,
new move.
back to my rant. I would love them to incorporate a little bit of the RPG item elements from Breath of the Wild. I mean, obviously, Breath of the Wild is very far in the future from this game, but having like weapon diversity, being able to have weapons that have different effects, especially as you collect these orbs, you could add like an electric sword, you could add a fire sword, you could add a water sword. I don't know how that works. But, you know, you get the point.
Some water
Like, they missed
breathing.
out on that opportunity.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was a
I
like
think-
so many fun things.
I think
that
that what
incorporated.
was just missing from this game was like usually in some of these other games you'll get like an elemental rod or an elemental arrow, and you might get some of those later in the game when it comes to the arrows, but at least I think like a fire rod or something. But I mean, with the weapons, it's very
Do you know
traditional
what would be cool as
for-
well? Is like
Yeah.
if there was a way to put your sword in something and then put it on a torch and your sword go on fire. Like even something like that would be cool.
Yeah.
5,000.
Oh my god. You could have, okay, pitch. Could have killed the sharks. Sharks give you the fucking whale blubber. I mean, I know they're sharks, so shark blubber. And then you can dip your sword in shark blubber and light it on fire.
There you go.
Or another thing, if you hit the
So many
electric
hits and then it
choo-choos,
stops.
you get like hit, but it also gives your sword some electricity for a little bit of time, and then you can use that
And then
electricity.
you can like stun enemies.
Or
Gah.
after you kill the yellow choo-choos, you can put their jelly on your sword.
On your body.
Yeah.
Dude.
I have 5,000.
I put choo-choo jelly on my elemental rod. Then I insert it into the caked up lip monsters. Ooh.
So you get the initial wallet, which for me was 200, was for you 500.
Yes.
And then on Outset Island again, there is the big fairy that
Yes.
gives you a wallet. And then if you do Northern Fairy Island above Tinkle Tower, you get the biggest wallet. So I can hold 5,000 now.
What is ours then? Like 10,000? Jesus.
It looks like the amounts stay the same. It's just the
okay.
initial wallet is bigger.
I see. Okay, that makes sense. We'll have to get the wallet. But yeah, now you have to go around to the backside of Outset Island, and back there is a little whirlpool and a big stone tablet that's blocking the entrance to this cavern. And now we get sucked up by the whirlpool and have to use our newly acquired bombs to shoot and break down this wall. Ben said you were having some issues with that.
Yeah. So one thing is that it took me a bit of time to get used to not just the bomb, like the surprising physics of the bomb.
Like how they arc. Like the arc
not only do they arc, but while you're spinning, if you shoot, it will like go the other way, and like it has a trajectory based on how you're spinning and where you shoot it. I did end up changing the wind to see if the wind direction would like help take the bombs further. I don't know if it did or not. It didn't look like it did, but so the problem I had is that I didn't realize you're supposed to do like 3 sections.
Yeah.
And so after like 5 or 6 attempts and I just couldn't get it, looked at a walkthrough and the walkthrough said shoot the top first and then work down.
Oh, so I mean, I guess it makes sense. If you break the bottom one, it would all collapse. You actually have to you have to break them in order.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I was going for like the base, thinking like, oh, I'll just blow up the bottom and it will crumble. But even when you hit it, like the top part lights up red.
Oh, so as long as you hit it, it'll just break in that order regardless. You don't necessarily have to hit them in that section.
But if you hit the bottom one, even though the top takes damage, it takes less damage, so you have to hit the top one.
I see.
Spot on to do more damage and to get it down quicker.
Gotcha.
That
makes sense.
Yeah,
I get the logic.
It's just at the time I was just like worried about going through the whirlpool and like
there's a lot. Initially, there's a lot to kind of like take in. You're being sucked up by a whirlpool, which if you don't do it in time, you get sucked into the middle of it. So if you've already done that, you're like, now you have the stress of like, I'm on a timer, and if I'm missing shots, this is stressful. So it makes sense. I get you.
And I had to go to Beedle and buy bombs off of him like twice because I just used the bomb. This was the first time I used the cannon. I hadn't used the cannon prior to this, so not only was there all of these things to take into account, it was my first time with the cannon itself. So yeah,
I remember my first.
I remember my first.
And then you meet the giant wish cache.
It is a wish cache.
It is a wish cache, yeah. This is what I wanted to ask you because so he talks in Hylian, which is obviously an ancient language we can't understand, but the King of Red Lions can. The King of Red Lions speaks back to him in English, but Jaboon replies in Hylian.
Yeah. It's one of those where he understands but doesn't speak very well, you know? Like he understands the language, he just doesn't speak it very well.
But the thing I wanted to ask is that there is a line where Red Lion says to Jaboon, he bears no relationship to the hero of time.
Yeah.
Which kind of puts a spanner in my theory because I thought we were a descendant of the hero of time.
So I think in this, I think we are like quote unquote the chosen one, but where all the other links somehow have that already, like they are already blessed with the, you know, the Triforce of Courage or the power of courage that Link usually gets or that hero usually gets. This Link has to earn that, which is what the Tower of Gods is. To get that power and to get deemed as a true hero, this Link has to earn that by doing the Tower of the Gods, which is what we do directly after this.
Okay. Yeah, I just because I thought there was a direct lineage.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I thought he was going to be like a great grandson or something.
Yeah. I also think that, and I may be wrong about this, but I think this is the case. After you do the Tower of the Gods, you can understand the Hylian language. Like if you talk to them, you can understand that because you've been deemed a true hero now at this point.
That's interesting. I haven't tried
if you play the game on hero mode, you hear it from the beginning. Like when you play on hero mode, you can understand the Hylian language from the very start.
All right. Okay. Okay.
But now, Jabun flicks little Pearl out of his little like tendril lantern that he has. I don't know if that's an object or part of his body.
But yeah, he's kind of like an anglerfish, isn't he? Like
he's an anglerfish,
like a big catfish mixed with an anglerfish.
Yeah, and we get the third Pearl, Nehru's Pearl.
Also, an incredibly unimportant character that didn't need to exist.
Yeah, this is where the controversy of like when the game was being released, of it kind of being rushed, and then there supposedly was supposed to be a third dungeon, obviously to coincide with Nehru's Pearl, but they didn't have time, so it got cut, and then they did the whole like Great Fish Isle gets destroyed, and then you just find Jabun in the back of Outset kind of thing.
Why not have?
They had a second chance.
Yeah, they did with the remake. Yeah, but like, why not have Jabun be at Great Fish Isle, be cursed by Ganon in some form? Maybe not even have to fight him, but maybe have to destroy the thing that is cursing him. And then in return for freeing him from the curse, he gives us Nehru's Pearl.
Yeah. I mean, and there's also other temples that we do later on, but Nehru's Pearl just has nothing associated with it besides this. I mean, I guess you can call it a puzzle. It's not even a puzzle because it's like part of the narrative that's happening, but
Yeah, I'm just looking at game design and stuff because I'm curious if it was super rushed. But go on. Sorry, carry on.
So now with Nehru's Pearl in hand, the King of Red Lions tells us that the next step is to go to these 3 spots on the map and place the corresponding pearl to that statue. So we go place Nehru's Pearl in its spot, Din's Pearl, and Pharaoh's Pearl. They all connect into, hey, guess what? A triangle. And they make a Triforce with coming up from the middle of it is the Tower of the Gods. And like I was talking about before, the King of Red Lions tells us that this is kind of our ultimate challenge to kind of deem us worthy as the hero and to get us acknowledged as being a true hero.
Yes.
And now Tower of the Gods, which is probably the more tedious and complicated dungeon, at least comparative to the ones we've done so far. Like I said, in my mind, I thought it was a little bit longer and didn't take as long as I thought it would, but definitely more complicated than the other 2.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I was just reading up about the game and the dungeons and stuff. Yeah. So it began development before Majora's Mask was completed for Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
And they had 3 years to develop it.
Mm-hmm.
And basically they made a demo. People loved the demo, but then they were like, oh no, this is too close to Ocarina and Majora's Mask. So they completely rechanged it. And then, like you said, two dungeons fell behind schedule, cut and replaced.
That's what it was.
Quest to recover Triforce pieces around the Great Sea.
There's cool concept art of like scrapped islands. There's an island that was literally in the shape of a GameCube, which was really funny.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So Tower of the Gods. What did you think of it? How did you find it? I know you said you found it harder than the others, but who played this one?
I did.
What did Kai do?
I asked him this morning. I was like, "Hey, do you want to play?" And you're like, "No, I'm good." And I was like, "Okay, I will do the Tower of the Gods."
It was 6 a.m. I could barely stay awake.
That's fair. Yes, I played the Tower of the Gods. It was good. Like I said, surprisingly shorter than I remember. Not as complicated as I remember it being either. Especially the boss. The boss is very straightforward and at least in my opinion. Very easy. I honestly think the boss was easier than some of the like the puzzles you have to do in this. This dungeon introduces a cool thing. We get a song called the song of, oh gosh, what's it called? We
No,
just did it.
command song.
Yes, the command song. So
or
there,
command melody or something. Yeah.
that's what it is. Yeah. So there are these statue creatures that are a little bit further into the dungeon, and essentially, kind of towards the end, there's 3 of them, and we have to get all 3 of them back to their middle pillars. And you can take command of them and then use them as yourself. You can control them, or you can have them just follow you. And that whole mechanic I thought was really interesting. And when me and Kai were playing this, and I was just thinking, like, man, Zelda dungeons must be so complicated to design because of how many like elements and how many things have to like bleed into one another and work with one another. Just like this seems like just a hassle to design.
Yeah, because I mean, you have to balance it, right? Because you come
absolutely.
in and the first of all, the area's flooded.
Yes, water is
And
moving
then-
up and down. The water level changes on the timer.
Exactly, it's on a timer. It moves up and down, and so you're just kind of thrown in there. And there's no. Normally, there's like an entrance room.
Yeah.
And the entrance room
immediately
leads
have,
into a
like,
main
3
hub, and you
different doors
immediately
you can
know
go
where you're
to.
going.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So in the walkthrough, they say about doing it in a certain order. I actually did it backwards.
Oh, interesting.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which way round you do it, because it
Right.
gets to a point where you need to have done the 3 things to progress anyway.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
but there's these really cool puzzles where there's like boxes on the floor, and then a wall will come in and lift the boxes up, and the wall will go back down, and they go down. And what you have to do is get the boxes in such a way that you can jump across them with a lit torch.
I was gonna say
light the
that was
torches
my
on the
that's
other
one of my favorite ones. Was that one?
it was brilliant. Like I really liked it.
It does seem like a really basic version of the water temple, though, with like
The water
like
level.
if you reducted, the water level from Ocarina,
I mean, it
and
just-
you were like, okay, how do we make this not as frustrating?
Right, and that's what I was gonna
The
say,
metal
like,
boots and the water changes.
It doesn't feel like
Yeah.
like reductive in the sense like it's less than the water temple. It just seems like more streamlined. Like you having to go to different parts and play the song to move the water level. With it just going up and down on a timer, and you have to like certain areas are accessible when it's up, and certain areas aren't accessible at that point. And just timing that, I think, is really cool and more streamlined than something like the water temple in Ocarina.
Yeah, I mean, and definitely that was like my big complaint about the Water Temple, was the fact that there was only set places you could change the water level.
Yeah.
And so you had to trek back to them. But with this, it's like they looked at it and they were like, okay, right, we'll put it on a timer. But not only that, the puzzles are then intricate. Like the water is intricate to the puzzles.
Yes.
You know, you need to wait for the boxes to come up to break the hole in the wall to get the dungeon map and like things like that.
Yeah.
And so it was just really cool.
And arguably, honestly, the hardest boss of this entire dungeon, the yellow choo-choos.
Fuck those guys, man. Why can they float on water? What the fuck is that?
They float on water, and you get the stun time is so long. And there's a room where there's maybe like 1 or 2, and I think it's kind of one of the first rooms to have the boxes. They float up, and then you have to set bombs down to break some walls, and I think you get either the dungeon map or the compass in this room. But after you get that and you kill the first 2 choo-choos, 4 more drop down, and if you get stunned and launched into one of them, you kind of just get stuck in this loop of being shocked by these choo-choos.
Oh.
I mean, you can use I think you can use the grappling hook and the boomerang to stun them, but if you can't time it right, because they'll come back and shock you, you'll get zapped and you have to go through that all over again.
Yeah, it's fucking annoying.
Yeah,
It's
it
fucking
really is.
annoying.
But there's lots of different enemies, brand new ones. There's the Beamos, which we've seen from Ocarina, which are the little eyeball things that lock onto you as you're going by. The difference between Ocarina ones is you can't blow them up. Yes, these ones have become arrows.
Exactly. Yeah. There. So the thing that I really liked as well is like there's a mechanic where you press a platform and it will like show a light bridge or a light stairs. But then there was in one of the rooms you have to go up these light stairs to get a pedestal, take it back down, and place it somewhere to open the next area.
Another area. Yeah.
And from what I remember, it was based on the box. Like you put a box on it, and then the water level would like rise, and
as it
would
go
come
back down,
off
you
of
would press the
switch,
button,
like,
giving you the time that right. It's very streamlined. Like it doesn't seem linear at all, because you can kind of do this. Like you said, Ben, you accidentally did it backwards, but it's very streamlined. I think this is probably one of the best dungeons that we've done so far.
This was in terms of like my actual enjoyment of solving the puzzles and going through the the dungeon and stuff. I enjoyed this one the most.
I mean, I would say the only
so
disappointing part would be the boss, which we'll get to in a little bit because it was very straightforward. But the item that we get for this dungeon is the hero bow. So we finally got the bow and arrow, which is very useful. There's enemies called what are the flaming skulls called? I don't know what those are called.
Oh, Keys? Is it Keys?
Cacodemon.
No, not Cacodemon, not Keys because those are the bats.
Fuck. Yeah, they're called.
Almost, no. I don't know what they're called. Anyways, they're annoying because they hit you.
Why is there no red dot for the bow? Can we talk about this? It would have been, they programmed it for the goddamn everything else. Like, how there's no aim. You just have to guess. I mean,
blue bubbles and red bubbles.
That's what they are.
Not a problem. Blue bubbles and red bubbles?
That's right.
Yes.
That's what they are. I remember them. That's what they were called in.
I mean, those are from the originals.
Yeah, and the original too. Yeah.
So there's no dot. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
I had a big Zelda moment as well. I was going through the temple and I saw the eye and I was like, oh, I'm getting the bow. Okay.
I know this. I've been here before. Throws the boomerang.
Yeah. The one time I did get stuck is after you've done like the first 3 rooms, you're kind of like, okay, where the fuck do I go now? And you can see on the map that there is another area, but you couldn't see how to get to it, and you have to blow up the stone walls, like the cracked walls. I didn't put 2 and 2 together. My brain went full fucking smooth.
That was the first thing I did when I walked in here. I was like, boom, 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 blow up the 3 walls.
Yeah, well, I mean,
we just got bombs.
Yeah, I mean,
you gotta assume they built that shit into a dungeon.
You played Womb Waker in your fucking sleep, man. Like, I'm pretty sure you're cool.
That's fair.
You could.
That's fair. But yeah, one of my favorite parts, and again, the initial dungeon is great, and I like the water levels and everything. But getting the command melody and doing the little statue things, I think was really fun. Like doing that
was that one of your favorite parts?
Yeah, I really like that. It's really interesting. You're not a fan?
No, I liked it. For me, my favorite part was the Iron Knuckle.
Oh yeah,
the Iron Knuckle was brilliant, because you're familiar with this enemy like from Ocarina and stuff if you've played before. But
I think these are Dark Nuts.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think these are
Dark Nuts. Okay.
Love me a good hanging pair of Dark Nuts.
Yeah, I'm just going to town on my Dark Nuts over here.
Caked up flappy lips and Dark Nuts.
Let me just flare.
This is a sexy ass game, and you know what? They didn't make the fairy sexy. Missed opportunity.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's called. These ones are called Dark Nuts.
Dark Nuts or Dark Knights?
Nut.
Okay.
Doesn't even make fucking
sense.
There is Dark Nuts in Ocarina of Time, and there are like the soldier things, but the Iron Knuckle is the larger versions of those, which obviously is what Nibiru or whatever her name is ends up becoming. But the smaller Knight things are Dark Nuts.
N-U-T. Nut.
The mini boss you fight is a Dark Nut.
Dark Nut, yes.
Okay. Well, anyway, I like that fight because
I like Dark Nuts.
I like Dark Nuts. You have that parry system.
Yes.
And
very crucial
hit him. You can't hit him because of his armor.
Mm.
But if you parry, you roll on the floor, jump around, and slice up the back of the armor, which is being like held together, and then the armor comes off.
Mm-hmm.
And
using his sword is very fun too. Like when you knock him down, you just grab his sword and smack him around with it. That's a lot of fun.
I really liked it because it was just like it was just a good use of the parry system. You know, like you've got this parry system that lets you roll behind an enemy. So to have an enemy that can only be attacked from the back, it's just a nice feature.
This dungeon as a whole kind of utilized everything that we've learned so far with like the parry system, and we have the grappling hook, and then we have our newly acquired bow and the boomerang that you can use to hit like even the bubbles and everything.
Yeah, there's also the spinning enemies that set up the main boss of this night, which I can only imagine are called like Metal Fleshlight, or given this game's naming schematic.
Funny enough, they're called Armor Knights.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
they're called Armor Knights, and the mini Iron Knuckle is called a Dark Nut.
Yeah.
But yes, you shoot the Armor Knights in the eye, which is targetable.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God, because you just Z target. And do you see? I threw a bomb in their mouth. Are we talking about the same thing?
Oh no! I
the things that spin with the yellow spikes on them.
Yep.
Yeah, you target them, they stop, they drop their mouth, and that sets up the boss fight, which is also like,
Yes.
oh, I know this mechanic.
Gotcha.
But there are walking statues that you're talking about
That you fight later, you shoot them in the eye, and then you turn around and hit them
and they
from
have
the
like
back.
the rupee on
Yeah,
the
they got
back.
the bamboo, the baboon butt.
I will say another part that I really enjoyed is when you're doing the kind of trying to get the 3 statues back to their pedestals. There's one where you have to kind of do a balancing act of these 2 platforms that raise and
Yes.
lower depending on the weight. And when you go there initially, you kind of just toss a couple of the statues that we were just talking about earlier on there, and then you can go across. But now that you have the main statue that you need for the pedestal, you have to take that into account and that weight into account to get across too, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, it's just it's nice. And also there's the I don't know what they're actually called. Oh, whiz robes.
I was just about to say, and there's one whiz robe in here.
Yes, the toucans.
He's a bird. He's a bird in this one.
There's 2 whiz robes. Now, when I looked at it, it reminded me of what was the name of Ganon's mum that we killed in Ocarina, who became Twin Rover.
Oh gosh, I don't remember their names.
But you know the 2 witches I'm on about, though.
Yes, yeah, they eventually become Twin Rover. I just don't remember their names.
Yeah, from a distance, it reminded me of them. And I was like, oh, that's like a cool little design nod because they've got the same sort of cape and all of but obviously they've got like a rod that they're shooting fireballs with. But again, yeah, it's just a nice. There's lots of nods to Ocarina. Was Wind Waker like the first Zelda on the GameCube?
Yes. I think 4 Swords might have come out before.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember. I know it was like 2001.
What the fuck is 4 Swords?
4 Swords was the multiplayer one.
Oh, okay. I was like, there's a main series Zelda game.
4 Swords and 4 Swords Adventures. They use Toon Link as the main character. Same thing with like Spirit Tracks and
4 Swords
Phantom
and
Hourglass.
7 years ago.
Is that the one that's like on the DS where you can like stack on top of each other?
The Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass are both. Phantom Hourglass is a direct sequel to Wind Waker, but both of those are on the DS. Yes.
Oh, okay, right, yeah. But yeah, no, that weight puzzle was cool. Just because
they're really pumping out Zelda games.
The problem with the DS Zelda games is for some, because obviously Nintendo's all about their gimmicks. You don't control Link with the D-pad. You touch the screen and you move him with the stylus, and that's how you play. And then you like slash to slash.
Just make the bottom screen a fucking inventory. That's all you have to do.
Yeah. Those are the 2 games I've yet to tackle because they're, again, direct sequels to Wind Waker, which is exciting because this is an exciting game and an exciting world they're trying to set up. But the controls with the DS ones are just, I can't do it. I don't know if I could do it.
I will say, I'm glad that Nintendo like either fired whoever made the Ocarina menu or just like put him on a fucking like plan where they're like, okay, we're going to watch what you're doing and we're going to assess everything because the fucking Wind Waker menu is so much better.
Oh, it's even better on the Wii U because it's just on the gamepad.
Oh god, yeah. It's literally just 2 screens and you don't even visit the second screen. The second screen is like quest screen that shows how many pearls you have and stuff. Like,
yes.
I mean, in the defense of every game developer, UI didn't really exist until like the early 2000s. Like no one thought about that. It was just some programmer who was like, oh, I can put buttons on a page, like it's fine. Like it probably was given to whoever was lowest on the totem pole. And now there's people who like specialize in that and make sure that it's not
so important. It's so important
atrocious
now too. So I mean,
yeah, it's true. Yes, yeah.
But getting into the boss of the Tower of Gods, Godan, which is another nod to Bongo Bongo. Hands, you shoot the hand eyeballs and you hit him and then you slash him up. From Ocarina of Time.
It reminded me of Master Hand from Super Smash Bros. For some reason.
That as well, with the Master Hand. The gimmick for Godan is that he's a floating sentient head with 2 hands. There's an eyeball on the hands. You shoot both the eyeballs twice, and that will disable the hands. And then you have to shoot both his eyeballs twice, and he'll drop. His mouth will open, similar to the enemy that we had fought before. You toss a bomb in there, and then it explodes. Rinse and repeat, and you beat the boss. Very straightforward, and
just don't get knocked onto the edge.
Explain to me why his hands are eyeballs, but his eyeballs
are hands. Just like 2 hands, whereas the eyes should be.
It's the Pow Man, isn't it? From Pan's Labyrinth. When did Pan's
there you go.
come out?
Oh yeah, that thing's fucking terrifying.
Terrifying.
He didn't have hands for eyes. He just had red lights for hands. Also, he shoots arrows out of his nose.
Guillermo del Toro made Pan's Labyrinth in 2006.
Oh, so they just copied Wind Waker.
Right after
He
this,
copied Wind Waker.
Oh, wow.
he played Wind Waker and was like,
This.
"Yo, I have an idea."
Yeah, but if you do run out of arrows at any time during this fight, he'll sneeze out arrows conveniently for
So
you. And
nice
it's
of him.
Thanks, man.
And just like every other Zelda game I've played has had like jars
pots.
or pots, and
Yeah.
you destroy them, and he's just like, and you're like,
In
oh,
my-
cheers, bro.
In my head, it doesn't really make sense, but in my head, like Godon isn't like an enemy necessarily. This is just like a test for the hero. And it's
Yeah.
like, I want you to obviously succeed, but I guess if it's a test, then you should be prepared regardless, and they shouldn't provide you with items. I don't know.
Yeah, and we should say like later on, after you've done the first 2 bombs,
Yeah.
what will happen is the hands will wake back up. So you
Yeah.
have to kind of be a bit quick, because originally, once the hands shut down, that's it. But later on in the boss fight, the hands will wake
be a
back
bit
up and try and
faster.
push you off the platform. If you land on the fucking floor, it's electrocuted. It's really fucking annoying.
I didn't take any damage during this boss fight.
I took
He didn't.
a lot of damage solely from the floor. Godin
Yeah.
didn't hit me once.
Mm.
But yeah, afterwards you beat him and he's like, I have been bested. You are a true hero. You are worthy. And he goes back into his little wall thing, like the fucking Attack on Titan dudes. And then
Spoilers.
And it's the classic Zelda 3.
It's classic Zelda 3.
3 bombs. That's all you need.
Yep.
Oh, it's always free, isn't it?
Yep. It's always
Yeah, it's like a trope in Zelda. It's
trouble in a
always
lot of these games, like 3D platformers, 2 bosses have,
Isn't,
have 3 hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, Mario, a lot of Mario bosses are like free jumps, aren't they?
Yeah.
3 hits.
But
Yeah.
now, probably the most satisfying part of this dungeon, you get the heart piece, you go into the little teleporter, and now you can ring the giant bell at the top of the Tower of the Gods. And what is more fun than swinging on a giant bell?
Nothing.
That's what it is.
Opening a portal deep below the sea.
Yes. So now we are on the back of the King of Red Lions at the bottom of the Tower of Gods. And once we go into this portal, we begin to sink under the ocean. Link is very distraught at first. And when he realizes that he can breathe underwater, he is very a smug look like, oh, yeah, this is nice. This is kind of cool. But there we see a large castle and like vast landscape too that is underwater here. The King of Red Lions does not tell us much about this land, which I mean we know what it is, and I'm pretty sure Ben, you can kind of put 2 and 2 together of what this place is. He just says there's an item in here that we will need, and he has no time to tell you, and that is where we end.
Yeah, at first I thought it was Peach's castle from Mario 64, and then
Just Mario pops up.
and I was like, oh no, it's Hyrule Castle.
It's Hyrule. It's the once flooded Hyrule.
The item we needed was a super mushroom.
Exactly.
So Super Link.
It's the star, and we could just
Oh my god! Imagine how easy that Ganon fight would be.
Oh, absolutely.
So I just wanted to say I had a quick Google because I was curious. Because I know that a lot of like Japanese traditions and stuff are very like superstitious and things like that. So the number 3 is a lucky number in Japan, represents creation, the past, present, and future, as well as the 3 elements of the mind, body, and spirit. So
the Son, the Father, and the Holy Spirit.
Is it left, right, left? I can't remember. I'm not Catholic.
No idea.
Neither
are we.
But yes, it's a lucky number in Japan, which is why I'm assuming that they use it because, you know, Nintendo.
Yeah, makes sense. But yeah, that is our leg for this week. We'll now go around and wrap up how we thought about this leg. Kai, how did you feel about this section of Legend of Zelda Wind Waker?
Did you enjoy it, this jambone?
Did you enjoy it?
Maybe you didn't see my camera, but I showed my leg. Yeah, it was a great. Sorry, that was very loud. My apologies. Yeah, it was a good section. I think it's disappointing that there's not a water temple, and I think that the giant wish cache is a fucking waste of space and time, and the way that they handled the orbs in general were kind of stupid. Like, I mean, honestly, they could have done it in a better way, which they kind of get better at as time goes on. I mean, Skyward Sword does a better job of this. Kind of the elements of the later games a little bit, but I mean, as I said, I'm disappointed with the kind of item RPG side of this game anyway, which is very normal for a Zelda game to not have a lot
very
going
traditional
on other
Zelda.
than kind of the traditional items. Yeah, for sure. which is fine. I was not. I've played this before, so I was not expecting greatness in that capacity.
At all.
But I think at all, ever. No, but I think the Tower of the Gods is interesting, and I never thought of the perspective of what you said earlier about it being a test, which is why obviously Bongo Dongo shoots stuff out of his nose to provide you with items. But I think that's that's a good point. That's a good call out. It's like you are proving that you are the hero of time.
Yeah.
Which is you don't have to do in the other games. You're kind of just dictated,
Mm.
and you already contain one of the 3 Triforce pieces, which is usually why Ganon is trying to go after you.
Right.
Which is the main difference in this game is that Ganon isn't going after
Doesn't care
us.
about you.
He doesn't really, he doesn't. He's like, who cares about what the fucking kid is doing? I don't really understand the pirate's motivation.
Treasure.
And
yeah.
No, but why she lets us go and like why she lets
I was going to
bombs?
comment on that. I can't understand that either.
Because she likes Link.
Yeah.
No, but
They
the
are
thing is,
lovey-dovey.
But she wants the treasure.
She contacts you on the stone afterwards and is like,
Yeah.
oh, so you've got, because once you get the bombs from Nico, she's like, oh, you got the bombs, and she's like, well, we're going to be there in the morning, so if you get there before us, you can have the treasure, but if not, we're going to come and take it. Like, is she wanting the
No, I don't
challenge?
understand.
What? Like, it's very unclear.
Love.
She barely knows him. She shot him
Sure.
out of a cannon and then didn't see him again.
Also, she called us a child like a bunch.
We
which-
shoot the ones we love out of cannons. That's just canon. I'm sorry.
Weird.
Continue, Kai, please.
Also, the forest temple is interesting. I think it's a relatively good dungeon. I think it's kind of overshadowed by the dungeons you do later. I guess the Tower of the Gods isn't necessarily a dungeon, but you get the point. I think the whole water mechanic and the boxes are like pretty peak Zelda dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
And the tree shooting its seed all over the place and no explanation of how that actually helps it survive is confusing.
Yeah.
Like, you could have just 2 more sentences to explain why you have a ceremony to shoot your seed all over, and then I think at the end of that they say like, oh well, I'll see you in like another 5 years.
Yeah, they're
or
like, oh,
some
we'll see you in
crazy
a
amount
year
of
or
time.
something. Like,
Yeah,
they only come
exactly.
together once a
Yeah.
year.
And it's also confusing because the little Korok people were like actual people, and now they're like a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of lore that they don't give you in Zelda games. They just kind of either assume that you're going to find out on your own.
Yeah.
And it's like, just one more sentence. And maybe if you're in hero mode and you understand Hylian, I mean, not really for the tree necessarily, because he only does it at the very beginning when you meet him.
Jabu.
Maybe you'd understand a little bit more of the context. But I feel like they missed a lot of like good beats for storytelling that they could have put in here. But generally, still having a fun time. The swift sail makes things a lot easier moving around without having to change the wind every 10 goddamn seconds. And if you're playing along, use bait.
Yes.
Because it's going to come in handy later, and you're not going to want to retrack to all of those islands, especially if you don't have the swift sail and you're not playing the HD version, and all you have to do is change the wind a bajillion fucking times so that you can navigate to them. You're going to regret that hard.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Benji, how'd you feel?
This was a very confusing leg for me. I really liked the Forbidden Woods.
Yeah.
Really liked it. I enjoyed the Tower of the Gods a lot more. I think that, like we've all kind of said, that water mechanic of having it rise up and down and tying that into the puzzles and how the puzzles are solved, I think it was brilliant. It was let down by the boss.
Mhm.
I feel that, maybe I'm overthinking too much, but something that's supposed to be a test for the chosen one was oddly simple.
Yeah.
I really looked forward to exploring the Great Sea, and then I got to explore in the Great Sea and was very, very underwhelmed by just how monotonous the traveling can be, especially if you're going long distances. If you're going square to square, it's not too bad because you're kind of breaking it up. But when you're going from, say, Windfall to Outset in one go,
multiple times,
that is a very long journey.
Exactly.
And if you get caught in a cyclone and you get thrown somewhere else and you've got to change your wind direction again, and it's just it definitely sounds like the HD version is the way to play it. It sounds like there was a lot of quality of life issues that were addressed in it.
Yeah.
minus the monotony of exploring the ocean and stuff, the actual core gameplay, I've really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed. And it feels bad to say I'm enjoying it more than I enjoyed Ocarina, like in terms of being fun and gameplay. But I am enjoying it more, but at the same point, I also wonder, is that because of the advancements in technology? Because the GameCube could do more, they could allow more gameplay elements to exist and stuff. So
yeah,
it's a toss up. But yeah, no, I am enjoying the game so far, definitely.
Awesome. That's good to hear. Yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite sections so far. I didn't have as much issue with the exploration part of the Great Sea. I think just because I kind of knew the expectation going forward that exploration is a very loose term. I mean, there's islands that you can explore, but what comes out of those islands isn't much. It's usually heart pieces or rupees, and a lot of the times you're, depending on your wallet size, your rupees are already full, and then you're kind of just wasting that. So I mean, sometimes there is interesting islands aesthetically. There's like a seashell island, you can see Tingle. Sometimes it can be interesting characters. In this section, I did go to islands and I did explore sections that I had never done before, so that was exciting for me that I got to explore some of these little small dungeons again, even though they only lead to heart pieces and little things like that. It was cool to do something new in Wind Waker that I hadn't done before, the boat mini game, all that kind of stuff. Grandma, I'd never saved Grandma before. She's always been sick and dead in my previous playthroughs. So the elixir.
So wait, you can leave that island without saving Grandma?
Absolutely. The only thing she does is give you the elixir.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And speaking on the elixir, that's awesome. It's so cool that not only powers up your hearts, your magic, but also doubles your damage as long as you're not getting hit, which is kind of like a trope for other Zelda games, like with the Master Sword. Like if you have full hearts, you can do either like a sword beam or you have like double attack or something. So it's cool to kind of see that in this game. Forbidden Woods is fun. It's fine. It's fine enough for the second dungeon. I definitely think the Tower of Gods kind of overshadows all of those of the previous dungeons. I knew the Nero's Pearl situation going in, and I'm not necessarily upset, but knew that I was like, oh yeah, they had to cut things for time constraints and stuff like that. So I already had that expectation going forward. But the Tower of Gods is so much fun. Even playing it again for the millionth time at this point, it's still fun to go through, especially now at this point, because I think I have a lot more like context in the sense of like game design and an idea of how games work. Because when I was playing this, I'm just like, Jesus Christ, this must have been complicated to like mechanically make and create, and it was like impressive and fun. I was like, I had a lot of enjoyment from that, even though, like Ben said, the boss in this dungeon is a little underwhelming in its difficulty. It would have been cool to kind of see maybe the water levels, or maybe, more, maybe if like we had a dungeon where we had to utilize, a boss where we had to utilize all of our items, including the bow, maybe that would have been too complicated. But I think going forward, this section sets up interesting lore points that we're going to have going forward with like Hyrule Castle and everything, and I'm excited to explore that. But enjoying it as always. It's Wind Waker. I'm gonna love it.
Yeah. I'm really curious. I'm gonna have a look and see if I can find what the cut content was from Wind Waker, because I just it's one of the things that annoys me most about the industry is this kind of idea of like, because it is a business, the shareholders need to be kept happy, and if the shareholders are told a certain date, they don't want delays and things like that. So
no, sorry, go for it.
No, I was just going to say I understand why they were cancelled, but it's
still unfortunate.
It'd just be interesting to see what could have been.
What could have been, yeah, 100%. Yeah, but that's our leg for this week, guys. In the next episode, we will be tackling Hyrule Castle and the Earth Temple. These two temples going forward are pretty interesting, so you should tune in and listen to those because it's going to be a grand old time.
So where are we actually playing up to? We're playing up to after the Wind Temple.
After the Earth Temple. We're
doing the Earth Temple?
Yes, we're doing Hyrule Castle and the Earth Temple, and then we're doing the Wind Temple and the Triforce, and then we're ending in Ganon's Tower with our final episode.
Oh, okay.
I split this up into
There's
twos at the end because doing 3 temples at once is a lot. So I was like, oh, I'll just do it in sections. If we have shorter episodes, fine, because this one's 2 hours long. So
it's got dragged on a bit.
we'll balance that out.
Do you want to talk about the Discord, the fucking words
The
brain? There you
competition?
go. Thank you, Kai.
Oh,
The
yes.
face-off?
We are doing a kind of little competition on our Discord. If you're interested, we are going to be holding a Mario Kart 8 tournament. If you're interested, at this point, we're just gaining interest. If we have enough people that want to do it, then we will definitely set it up and do it. You guys can come watch. We'll probably stream it on the Discord or something. But more enticing points to join the Discord for the winners. We're trying to think of some fun things to do for the top 3. There'll be a variety of like roles that you'll have. Maybe he'll say like Mario Kart 8 champion. We'll have some exclusive emotes for you guys to do. And the first place winner will be able to decide one of our interstitials. So if you're interested in that and want to do some kind of Mario Kart 8 championship, let us know. It's not going to be anytime soon. Once we get enough interest and people that want to do it, then we can kind of set up when and where and all of that. But join our Discord because it's happening there. All the information is there. Go to our announcements channel. Check it out.
There's a Google Doc. Like Jared said, we're just trying to garner interest and work out time zones and stuff like that. So if you fancy it, come join. It'd be interesting. I want to take part and lose so badly.
I want to take part and win so I can have all the roles and all the exclusive emotes.
We have managed a way to stream it through Discord, the actual gameplay. So if we do it, the idea is to have a video call and have everyone in there watching the gameplay as it happens.
Yeah, and even if you don't want to compete, if you want to join our Discord, it's fun. We have a lot of fun conversations, and you can come watch and have fun Mario Kart sections with us. That's it. Yeah, guys, follow us on our social media. Everything's on our link tree. Leave us reviews. Apple Podcast, not Zencaster, Podbean, wherever the hell, Spotify, wherever you listen, rate, review, share, all that stuff. That's all we have for you. We love you. Thank you. Hope your day is beautiful and wonderful, and I hope you are also beautiful and wonderful.
I hope you're beautiful, Jared. Let's leave that there, son. Let's
I
Jared's
hope.
words are not indicative of the entire Play Along podcast team. Thank you very much. We love you.
Hey guys, we'll see you later. Peace out.
Goodbye.
Bye.